Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Kayfabe Central podcast and part three of the WWE Best and Worst Awards. This is the Performance Awards for WWE. So a lot of different things to dive into for the final part here, and then from tomorrow we will get started on the AEW ones. So quite a few things to break down. If you don't know who we are, I'm your host Josh. As always, joining me is Rue on Wrestling.
Hey guys.
So yeah, we got the performance awards, the final part for the WWE End of the Year awards. Before we get into that though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. Check out the Kayfabe Central website. That's where all my coverage posts, articles, written predictions, all that good stuff is. Also check out the Kayfabe Central Discord server. I couldn't find my words there for a second. But check out the Kayfabe Central Discord server if you want to build a community within Kayfabe Central. Within the next month or so, I'm going to be a lot more active in the Discord server, and I'm going to be posting like community polls and all that good stuff in the community in the Discord server. So make sure you guys go check that out, the Discord server. If you don't have Discord, it's definitely worth a download if you want to build a little bit of a community in there. So go check that stuff out. But that's the self promo out of the way. Obviously, you guys know all the other links are down in the description, whether you want my TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. Let's jump straight into part three of the WWE Awards. So we got some interesting things lined up here. The first topic we have to go about here is the best manager or best and worst manager or valet of the year. So when I was sitting down and thinking about these, I was like, there really wasn't many managers or valets this year. So for worst, I've put Scarlett because how that all went down with her and Karrion Cross. They weren't really involved in anything major this year, even though fans wanted them to be, and they ended up getting fired, and now they're just doing their thing on the indies. So she was really the only like valet, really like. I guess if you want, you can count Kiana James, but she's also a competitor. So I didn't really count her as a valet for like Julia or anything. Um, or like a manager or whatever. So I have Scarlet written down, and I also have this one because I will take any opportunity it is to shit on this person. That is The Rock. I have as the worst manager, and I think I'm going to give this award to him because of just his involvement in the Cody Rhodes and John Cena storyline, and just him being a big fault of why that storyline flopped because he decided to insert himself into it and then just disappeared and never come back. So I think I'm going to give this one to The Rock.
You know, I
Oh, Ru, I think you froze.
once those at all was kind of
There we go.
am I,
You're back. Yeah, you're back.
am I- okay, okay. No, I was saying that I struggle to really think of any at all for this one. Um so I'm kind of glad you came up with them because they were actually quite funny and true. Um so the one I went for, which I will change to an actual answer, I will agree with you on The Rock because that's probably the most storyline ridden one. I put down just for a joke to give you a laugh, Cutler James because he doesn't wrestle anyway. He is
Fair.
that's his, but no, yeah, I guess The Rock's probably actually a good answer to that, being John Cena's kind of valet and completely ruining everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And for best, there was really only one that I landed on, and that was Paul Heyman. Because he was really the only like main manager this year. Paul Ellering was like only involved in the very, very beginning
Yeah,
of this year, so he wasn't. I didn't really count him or anything like that because he got released. Him and AOP got released pretty much like within the first couple weeks of the year. I think they only had like one match of this on this year. So I didn't even include him because I don't think that really counts. So I've went with Paul Heyman, and you know what? I'm perfectly fine with picking Paul Heyman because he's been really good. He's had some really good mic work. It's Paul Heyman, so he's known for this stuff. I am well in the argument that he is one of, if not the best manager of all time. the when you look at the kayfabe facts, how many world champions he's managed and how many people he's genuinely helped backstage as well. So whether it's in kayfabe or backstage, I think Paul Heyman deserves this.
Yeah, I'm the same again. I couldn't really think of one that wasn't Paul Heyman, to be truly honest, mate. But I think it's the correct answer because he's Paul Heyman. He's amazing. He's always been amazing. And as you said, I think this has been a slightly not as strong year for Paul, but he's still been very good. That's the other plus there's not
Yeah.
really much other choice. So yeah, you said it's Paul Heyman. I totally agree with you by the way. I think he is the greatest manager of all time. Maybe it's just our generation talking. I know some folk might argue with that. They might say it's Bobby the Brain, but yeah, for me it's Paul Heyman, and I'll give the award to him.
I never got behind Bobby the Brain Heenan. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but like I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like old school wrestling in general. I don't think a lot of it was that good. But I never really got behind Bobby the Brain Heenan. I know like I usually get behind like the piece of shit gimmicks and all that stuff, but I just didn't really like him. And obviously like I wasn't born during that time, but I've gone back and done my homework and I just didn't see what everyone else saw. Maybe it was different, like actually living in the moment and in the time. But yeah, I still like Paul Heyman. The next section we have for these is the best or worst authority figure of the year. So this is not a section that we're going to do for the AEW side of things because there's not really any authority figure there. Our general manager things going on. So for worst, Rue, I'm gonna upset you a little bit here because I've gone with I may botch her name, but Maricela Pea from AAA. Uh, she kind of just stands there and does nothing. I don't really see her purpose as like the general manager or authority figure. Uh, I don't have her written down as well, but Carlos Silva as well because he just I don't know. He's just become a meme this year, where the when the WWE guys take the TNA titles and uh you know he's just sitting there like a lost puppy and a sad puppy. Carlos Silva is just he's become a really big meme this year. Um but for the person that I really want to give this award to is Triple H. Because technically he's been involved in like some kayfabe stories this year and like during the post-show conferences he's like interacting with the fans when they're booing him and stuff like, oh, I'm glad you enjoy the show or whatever. So I technically count him as an authority figure because and why not? Why not get the opportunity to shit on Triple H? Because it's really unfortunate because I was a big fan of Triple H, the competitor and the wrestler. I think he was fantastic as a wrestler, but the past couple of years he's just not been the greatest human being in my eyes, and some of his booking decisions and the whole TKO thing going on, uh, it's just kind of flipped upside down and kind of hurt the company a little bit. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it this to Triple H.
These are all three that I like totally didn't even think about. I think the TNA and particularly Carlos Silva is so true because he's just become like it's brutal. I'll say he's just become a cuck to like Shawn Michaels. He has.
Yeah.
Please tell me what I'm wrong.
No,
Um,
yeah,
he has. So I know that's actually probably quite a good answer. I've gone with Ava just because of how BS she is to some of our top champions. She's like Blake Monroe. She's like Blake's like I want to go challenge this belt, and Ava's like do that, and they're like making even twice in one night. She's bollocks, Ava, and very inconsistent. So I'm gonna go with Ava.
fair. Um, I like Ava's a weird one because I didn't write her down at all. Because I'm like, I'm still torn with Ava because there's some weeks that she's kind of entertaining and kind of funny, and then there's weeks where she's like, okay, you're just a useless general manager. And I was
Yep.
really torn about Ava because she did come to mind, and I'm like, I don't know, but then I thought about Triple H. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this to Triple H instead. Uh,
That's a good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout.
um, so there's that. I apologize if you can hear my dog in the background. So I'm actually gonna give this one to you so I can let him out. But for best authority figure of
Okay.
the year.
Okay, so for me, for best authority figure, uh, I've gone down, and it's funny. I said this and then instantly kind of um thought about it whilst we've been sat here and going, you know what? Maybe he's not really, but I enjoy him at the end of the day. I've gone for Nick Aldis, as the best authority figure. He's just a great presence on screen. His accent very stands out on camera, which I find really funny. But now that I'm sat here thinking about it. He never actually books any of the shows properly because he's always like, you know what, we've got ourselves a main event, as if he hasn't actually booked it. So I'm starting to regret saying Nick Aldis, but I do still love him at the same time. So I'll go Nick Aldis.
Yeah, so I for best I have Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce written down. Um, I'm gonna lean more towards Adam Pearce because I just love how he manages. I think that he like his facial expressions, the way he acts towards certain storylines, it just matches everything, and he's so good at doing it. Like I like Nick Aldis too. I love the
Yep.
gentleman kind of thing that he always does. But I'm gonna lean more towards Adam Pearce here because he's just so good, and I love the it's official thing. I always even when I know what's announced for Monday Night Raw, I always watch his little Instagram reels that he does because it's just so like cool to watch, and I just listen
Yeah.
to hear the it's official thing. And we talked about this in one of the parts. I can't even remember if it was part two or one. We've done so much recording, but I mentioned how the New Day was like save the thing, and it's like the match isn't official unless he says it's official.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Adam Pearce here.
It's a good show. Good show. I like Pierce and Aldis. I'm a fan of both.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, the next section we have here is best and worst commentators of the year. For worst, so here's something interesting. So when we were watching the AAA show Guerrera the Titans, I was like, you know what? He Conan doesn't sound too bad. But then I listened to some of the other things that he said, and then I heard like he made an ice joke as well. I'm like, oh,
I didn't realize that.
yeah, he did. I'm like, what did I hear at first that actually made me get behind him? So for worse, I've put down Conan because I also remember at Triple Mania, he was not energetic at all. Like he had no energy on commentary, and it's like, man, this is bad, and he's not a good commentator. Um, I like another one that I have down as well is Jesse Ventura because I don't think Jesse Ventura is a good commentator either, and I honestly might give this one to Jesse because he man, he just does whatever he wants on these shows, and I don't think it's good to have somebody like Jesse Ventura on your commentary team if he's just gonna expose how bad your writing and your booking is because I will always remember the steel cage match where it's like, oh, how are you gonna walk out the door? You know, back in the day, you know, we used to have to pin the guy in the cage. And it's like, you know, while I agree with that, you shouldn't have somebody like Jesse Ventura on commentary. So I'm very torn between Conan and Jesse, but I think I'm gonna lean towards Jesse Ventura.
They're the same thing for me. I even said that to you. I was like, Conan is just Triple H's Jesse Ventura with some
Yeah.
of the quotes he comes out with. No, they are very good shows, and actually ones I hadn't even thought of. So I'm a big fan for going for them. So honorable mention here, I've put down the bad side of Booker T because he's Booker T. But the one that I've gone for is someone that a lot of people like, but I think a lot of people are starting to sour a bit. I have just maybe it's all never been a fan personally, and that's Pat McAfee. Maybe it's because it's like the whole American football thing isn't big over here. Like, I had no idea who he was when
Yeah.
he first came on the TV, and I just find him annoying. I will say I do enjoy, or at least did enjoy his partnership with Michael, but more just from like the friendship part, not the actual commentating part.
Yeah.
Um, I think sometimes times, like there's times like you're just like Pat, shut up. He just keeps speaking when something's
Yeah.
happening, and you're like, shut up, like stop speaking. It's just someone I've never massively been a fan
Yeah. Um,
of McAfee. He's energetic, yeah, but it's on my nerves a bit too.
yeah, Pat's a good shout. And I completely forgot to add Pat to my list as well because um I completely understand it. And I don't think, bringing in like football commentators and like obviously like I do watch football, so I knew who Pat McAfee was, and he is one of the best punters in NFL history, and I'll give him credit for that. But he can't commentate on WWE because like he even mentioned Moxley on commentary one day. Like I was like, oh my goodness, are you even allowed to do that? Um, and like he, I feel like in a way he kind of made certain things about him
Yeah,
and not about the wrestlers, like specifically Jay Uso's entrance. It was always like, oh, is Pat McAfee going to get on the table this week? And usually he did. I just don't like it. And like you said, he talks over things sometimes and it's just not good. So, yeah, definitely a good shout for Pat McAfee. Uh, for best commentator of the year, though, a couple of honorable mentions. Vic Joseph, is definitely on there. Vic Joseph is really good. I have Booker T as an honorable mention for best because I love Booker. Booker's so much fun. So I have him there. Corey Graves is another honorable mention as well. I think Corey is really good. He brings a lot to commentary. Like, if like Michael Cole or something doesn't actually know the name of a move or something, you'll have Corey there. Um,
yeah,
if you want to do the AEW comparison, Corey Graves is kind of like how Bryan Danielson is on commentary. He
yeah,
brings
that's
a
a good
lot of
one.
knowledge to the commentary team. So Corey Graves definitely deserves a shout. But my best commentator of the year is somebody I just mentioned. That's Michael Cole. I think Michael Cole had a great year on commentary this
Hmm.
year. And the fact that he's been doing it for so long, we had so many things revolve around him as well with people bringing up how Michael Cole has only taken 2 days off in his entire career of commentating, and working for the WWE. So that in itself is very, very impressive. And Michael Cole is somebody that deserves his flowers, and I'm glad that this year he got them. I also like post Vince McMahon era. I feel like he was really able to be himself on commentary as well, rather than just like following a direct script or whatever. He was really able to be himself this year. His call for the John Cena heel turn, his call for the KO and Sammy match at the Chamber. At the Chamber in general, I know I was there in person, but I rewatched it, and his calls on at the Chamber were just so damn good. And just in general, he's been good. So I'm gonna give this to Michael Cole.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think as well, shout out for the Vic Joseph one. I forgot Vic, but yeah, Vic's one of my absolute favorites. I don't know how I forgot him. Vic definitely deserves his flowers. Chucked in here. Honorable mention, even though he was on the dishonorable mention list, is Booker T because he's also amazing. He's awful and amazing at the same time. Only Booker T can do that. No, I put him there. Michael Cole, absolutely. Gets the shit. He's Michael Cole, as you said. We've all of a sudden gone, wait, this guy's really good, and he's had some incredible moments this year. Um, Shout out as well and give to two others. Firstly, Joe Tessitore, someone who I didn't know anything about, came in, and he's still developing, he's still learning. So that's why I wouldn't put him as I think the winner. But he's got a great voice. I think he's definitely got the commonly noticed by. I pretty much just gone with 15 here. 'Cause I think they've all been pretty solid this year. I've gone for Wade Barrett as well as an honorable
Right.
mention. Wade, I think is fantastic. In fact, he had a great call that I want to give him a shout out for at Saturday's main event when AJ slipped off the ropes. And obviously Leo, shout out to Leon obviously for being really quick to cover and think of what to do there, but also shout out to Wade for covering as well on commentary to say, the pace of the match, just AJ wasn't expecting it. He's tired out. Stuff like that is what makes Wade so good. So yeah, shout out to Wade and the rest of them. But for me, and pretty much for the exact reasons you gave, there's a reason I'm going for him is Corey Graves. I'm giving the award to Corey. Falls into, and maybe it's a hindrance sometimes, but he falls into that Dolph Ziggler category. But as a commentator, he's so good at everything that he can just be relied upon to go whatever he needs. If he needs to go to NXT, he can go down to NXT. If he needs to be on Raw or SmackDown or PLE, he can. But especially again, obviously, as you know, been a massive fan of AAA this year. Corey on AAA has been amazing and is the perfect fit because, as you said, like Brian Danielson on AEW, Corey knows he's a wrestler. He's not just a wrestler at heart; he's a fan at heart, and he knows all the moves, even ones that even like Conan doesn't know when he's talking gibberish on commentary. Also, shout out to JBL as well. He's really funny on commentary as always. But yeah, Corey's just like he's been on a workhorse. He's all over the place. Someone that they can absolutely rely upon. And I do think, and it's an interesting one because someone I do think got a little bit done dirty this year, and then I think he basically showed WWE, why he's so damn good and why they need him on commentary and can rely upon him whenever they need. So I think Corey Graves has been absolutely fantastic this year. So he's my award here.
Yeah, Corey is great, and like I have no problems with giving Corey Graves that award either. Wade Barrett is a fantastic shout as well because he is somebody else that brings a lot to commentary, like you mentioned. So yeah, he's so good there. So yeah, Wade Barrett's a great shout. I don't know how I forgot about Wade Barrett, but that's why we do these awards. Yeah, Wade Barrett's a great shout. I'm gonna go with Michael Cole to win that.
Yep.
The next section we have here is best and worst newcomers of the year. So for worst, I've put like some LFG and Evolve people here because like some people who got like signed to the company and then just got like fired almost immediately. So people like Draco Knox, he came in and didn't really do anything of significance at all, and then got fired. As much as I hate to put him on this list because I know him personally, Jordan Oasis who came in and didn't really get to do much of anything other than like show off the backpack gimmick that he has, and then have a couple of solid matches, and then just got fired. So, unfortunately, that does go under like worst newcomer. Like people like Tatiana Dumas and Chris Island, I have on this as well. Um, Freedom Ramsey as well, I put on here. Uh, but the person that I'm going to give it to, and it's very unfortunate because she is a very talented wrestler, but it's been the booking and the writing. Jordan Grace. I have to give this to because she came in, like I said, great wrestler, former TNA Knockouts champion. And she came in with a bunch of hype behind her, and they gave her nothing. And just she just kept losing and losing. Her only significant win this year was against Blake Monroe, and that was it. She didn't win any championships, and now she's just losing matches just to lose them. So that's very unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that I am going to give this to Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace is actually a great shout. She's on NXT. So that completely skipped over went over my head. So the Jordan Grace is actually a very good shout there because the things I wanted to put in the likes of like I was like, oh maybe like Stephanie Vaquer, but then I was like, wait, she was on the roster before the
Yeah,
beginning of the year, so I was like, does that count? Um, oh well, sorry, that was for the best, not for the worst, obviously, but because Stephanie Vaquer wouldn't be in the worst. So honorable mentions for me, or dishonorable mentions, I've got in JC Mateo coming in, Jeff Cobb straight onto the main roster. It's more. I said it's nothing against Mateo because that's the issue. We all know how good Jeff Cobb is. It's more just the writing and booking that has done him dirty this year.
yeah,
And also be a complete newbie to the roster. The one I've gone for here will be no surprise to Josh because I had no idea who he was until he joined the roster this year. Cutler James, once again, coming in, ruining Dark State. No, to be fair, I think Jordan Grace is a great shout. Actually, I didn't even think of that because in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's been on the roster forgetting she was in TNA before. Same with, I guess you could say, Joe Hendry's only really just started in NXT in the last month or
yeah.
two, and now apparently is on SmackDown. So whatever. Yeah, I've gone Carl James, but I think Jordan Grace is actually probably the correct answer. There's a good shout for the stature of where she should be and what she came in with.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned Joe Hendry, and he's actually someone I considered putting on this list because I don't understand how you bring a guy in, the former TNA world champion, who had so much hype behind him as well. And, you have this guy, as big of a name as he is, to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania, appear on John Cena's final show, and you still have him down on NXT. That doesn't make sense to me. And like you said, showing up on SmackDown. And I hope that this just means that he is going to be on the main roster because I don't think he should be in NXT for all the reasons that I just mentioned. So I didn't put him, I didn't write him down because he did just sign with the company. But if he continues to just be an NXT guy, I think that's wrong. I think he should just be up on the main roster. And if he continues to be in NXT, I think that goes under one of the worst newcomers because he shouldn't be in NXT.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But hey, give me Joe Hendry in the main roster. I want it.
Yeah. So for best, I have a couple names written down. When she was with the company, but WWE didn't want to keep her. Zeta Steele, was really good. I was impressed with her from the get-go, and now she's in Ring of Honor doing a couple good things. I'm happy that she's gonna get some shine over there as well, and she's still young. She still has a lot of time ahead of her, and I think she has a lot of potential. So Zeta Steele, I really enjoyed, and it was kind of a shame that they didn't want to keep her because I thought she could have been really cool in WWE. But maybe it's one of those things where she'll leave for a couple years and then come back when she's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Um, I put Penta on here as well because Penta started this year on Raw. So he absolutely I Penta. He's putting on fantastic matches. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment. But Penta's definitely got to be on here. Um, I've put down Ricky Saints as kind of his booking hasn't been like the greatest, but hasn't been terrible either. Ricky Sainz has made an impact. He won the North American title, won the NXT championship fairly quickly. So I think it would be wrong if I didn't have Ricky Sainz on here. I also have PJ Vasa from Evolve as well. She's been really good, and if there's somebody to keep your eye on from Evolve, it is PJ Vasa. I think she has a lot of potential. I think she's somebody you can add to Chelsea Green's Secret Harvest as well. She could be like the muscle since Piper Niven isn't there. So I think PJ Voss is definitely someone to keep your eye on because I think she is really good. I got to give this to Penta though. I think I got to give it to Penta. He's been the most significant this year. He's been involved in some, intercontinental title feuds and stuff. It's kind of crazy that he didn't win it this year, but obviously Dominic Mysterio has been more popular, so I understand that. But yeah, I'm going to give this one to Penta.
Yeah, Penta's an absolute fantastic show. I've got him down on my honorable mentions as well because he's been like we obviously knew Penta coming in, but I'm so glad he's came in and everyone's realized how good Penta is. Like we was the two of us, we knew, but like it's cool seeing all like Stu now have came back and seeing it going, oh my god, this Penta guy's amazing. It's like yes, yes he is. So yeah, definitely got Penta down. Ricky Saints, another one that you mentioned, I've got down as well. He said whether you like him or you love him, at the end of the day, he's came in and what was it, 2 days after being removed from AEW, and he's been the NXT North America champion, NXT champion, as you said, recently turned heel. Then some big storylines down in NXT. I'm sure his future is probably very bright. The one for me though is someone fairly recently that I've discovered. So it shows you how impressed I've been. I think you'll know probably who I'm talking about once I start getting into it. She has been freaking amazing. The sky's the limit for her. She's such a bright future, and it's Kendall Gray for me. Absolutely,
Good
she
shout.
is came in with so much fire. And as you said, and very openly, I don't really watch Evolve. I only get to see Kendall Gray when she's on NXT, and every single time she's on NXT, she is fantastic. As we also mentioned, I think previously, is the fact she came in, was in that Women's Iron Survivor match, looked amazing, and won the freaking thing. And you know what? Saying it right now, I wouldn't even be mad if they gave her the NXT Women's title. It's probably too, but I wouldn't be mad.
I mean, they seem to like to do the double champion thing with certain people, so maybe they just go all out with Kendall Gray, which I wouldn't be entirely mad at. She's very talented, but at the same time, you
Yeah,
don't want to like push her too fast as well. I
yeah,
feel like she should lose against JC Jane just to kind of build some um I'm trying to find the word, something behind her. Just build some more sympathy.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Just build some more sympathy behind her
Uh,
as a top baby face that eventually does win that title. Um, I want to give a shout out to Callie Armstrong from Evolve as well. I think she's really good,
mhm.
and I think she should be the person to beat Kendall Gray for that Evolve Women's title. Because Callie Armstrong has got a lot of potential. I think her and PJ Vasa, I think those two should be the top contenders to beat Kendall Gray for that Evolve Women's title and just keep Kendall Gray on NXT alongside Ren Sinclair. And, if they want to build something deeper with the whole Ren QCC thing, then go for it. There's a couple people that you could probably throw in there as well for the Ren QCC if you want to actually do something with that. So, yeah, shout out to Kylie Armstrong for sure. Um, the next section we have here is best and worst main roster call up of the year. So the only main roster call ups we've had this year, I'll list them off right now. Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez, Lash Legend, Fraxium, and Julia. That's it. That's all we've had this year. And for worst, I have to go with Julia, unfortunately, because she has not had any good booking behind her since she's gotten up to the main roster. They tried to pair her with Kiana James, it hasn't worked. And I got to go with her. The U.S. title reign didn't work. Nothing has been working with Julia on the main roster. And again, she's very, very talented. It's just the writing and the booking behind her that has just not been good. So I got to go with Julia on this one.
Yeah, I actually, as you said, I was struggling with this one because I couldn't even remember. But at the time, only two people. I actually completely forgot about Roxanne and Fraxium. The only two I could think of were Stephanie and Julia when it came to it. Slash, kind of giving away who my other one is. But I'm assuming there's not much change to you. But yeah, for the worst, it has to be Julia. And she had absolutely no fault of her own. She is a monster in the ring, and she was booked so strongly on NXT. And the parallel difference between her and Stephanie and Raquel coming up at the same time is the night and day. It's so different. Um, and it's such a shame to see. I actually quite liked the pairing as well of Julia and Kiana James. I thought it had something behind it, had some legs behind it, and they've just done away with it. I know, obviously, you've also read some spoilers. I know stuff that happens in the upcoming SmackDown and all that. That it seems to be teasing the head of her coming back into it, but like it's just the credibility. I know they'll try to build it maybe back up, but the credibility for me is gone after losing to Chelsea Green in about a minute. So it's just not there anymore. It's Julia. Like even if you compare her to Roxanne and Fraxium, the both of them, Fraxium and Roxanne, have had fairly decent years as well. It's just nothing has been as bad as Julia's.
Yeah. So I mentioned all the NXT call-ups and the only one that I have under worst is Julia. And so
Hmm.
I've shouted out Fraxium, Lash Legend, Roxanne Perez, and Stephanie Vaquer. I gotta give this to Vaquer though. I think that just makes the most sense. She's had the most success. She's been the most consistent. She's the women's world champion right now. Like she went from being at the tippy top of NXT being a double champion and all of that, and went straight to the main roster and went straight to the top. It's got to be Stephanie Vaquer. Um, Lash Legend, I think, has a lot of potential as well. I think she's gonna do really well. I like this pairing that with her and Naya. I think it works really well actually. So, I think that's a good starting place for her. And maybe somewhere down the line, I would have Lash Legend turn on Nia Jax whenever they want to do that. Like not anytime soon, of course, but eventually down the road, I think Lash should be the one to turn. And maybe see if Nia Jax being a babyface will end up working potentially. So always try out something with that. Obviously, a shout out to Roxanne Perez as well. She's been, one of the other most consistent people as well, alongside the Judgment Day, and I think she has a lot of things ahead of her as well. I think she's going to be the next Women's Intercontinental Champion, actually. I think she deserves a shout out, and obviously Fraxium has not had a bad match this year on the main roster, so they definitely deserve a shout out. But in the end, I'm gonna go with Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, I totally agree with Lash. I think someone has mental crazy potential. behind her. Thank Christ they changed her theme song though. And I actually agree. I said that I'm not someone who's a big fan, and I've said it before, and the stuff will come up later on. I'm not a big fan of Nia Jax, but I like the pairing of her and Lash. I think it's a good for both of them actually, not just for Lash. So I totally agree with you there. Roxanne, you said, has been fantastic, and I'm sure she'll go on to continue to do great things. Fraxium, I said, not had a bad match. But yeah, in comparison, all of them compared to Stephanie McCall, she just trumps them all so much. She's had an amazing year, some amazing matches. Maybe not the most amazing booking as the Women's World Champion, but again, that's no fault of her.
Yeah. Um,
And it's who I was I was oh sorry.
yeah, no worries. Go ahead. You're good.
Was I like frozen for a bit?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Stephanie was someone that I was fairly unknown to when she came to NXT. I also seen the match with Monet. I was like, well, that was pretty damn good. Came to NXT and she's completely wowed me this year. Easily at the time of the Slammies, yeah, it might have changed and been updated since then. But I remember going back to the Slammy Awards at the time. She was my at the time favorite female wrestler. Absolutely, I think she was absolutely fantastic in that run up and has still been throughout the year as well. So for me, it's Stephanie Vicker.
Do you think Stephanie Vecchier is going to end up having the push of someone like a Charlotte Flair, where she just ends up winning every single title?
I mean, I'm cool with it because I love Stephanie Vicker. I don't because this is the thing. You get like some of the absolute dumb shit reactions that get posted, the likes of Vince Russo saying that why have they got someone who can't speak English as the women's champion, like sharp. But
Shit.
folk, I know exactly. But like, but like people believe that stuff, and I think people look. I see a lot of Stephanie online. It pisses me off saying she's overrated and all that. And I'm just like, what are you
Yeah.
on about? She is so goddamn good. Um, I'm cool with it. Well, or not the internet would be, but IWC don't like anything, no. So sorry,
Yeah.
just do yours.
I don't want that. I'd be okay with it. I don't want them to do the exact Charlotte Flair push though, where it's like every other month she's winning something, because then it's just going to become
Yeah,
like, okay, she just wins everything kind of thing, and nobody likes that. Like nobody liked it when
yeah.
John Cena did it. Nobody liked it when Sami Zayn did it. It's just never a good thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that she's being set up to be a multiple time world champion, and I think she has a very, very bright future, probably the brightest out of the call-ups this year.
That's
Uh,
totally fine with me.
yeah. Um, the next section we have here is best and worst tag teams of the year. So I did you go put factions in this list as well?
Uh, I guess technically one of these is a faction, but it's the two people in the faction that I'm talking about. So I guess chuck them in there as well. Because if they're in the tag team, they've got tag team championships.
Yeah,
Sure.
so because I threw in some factions in here as well. Like I meant to write tag team slash stables, and I realized I just wrote tag
Right.
teams. I'm like, okay, shit.
Okay.
So I did throw in a couple stables here. So for worst, I have A Town Down Under because that just flopped this year.
Yeah.
Where Grayson Waller was like, ah, fuck Austin Theory. I'm with the New Day now. I'm Big G. That just flopped completely. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter completely flopped. They didn't really do anything of significance this year, and then they ended up getting fired. Uh, Pure Fusion Collective, they completely flopped. Sonya Deville, Shayna
Oh
Baszler,
my
and
God.
Zoe Stark.
I
Uh,
was like, who are they again when you were saying that?
um, and it's very weird because at the Royal Rumble this year, they were like holding down the fort
Yeah, they were.
completely. And then it was like a couple weeks later that Sonya got released, and then Zoe got injured, and Shayna
Hmm.
got fired, and then brought back as a producer. So that one I had to put under worst because they had potential there, and they just completely flopped it.
Hmm.
Um, Metaphor as well is under this list because
Sure.
they had reunited, and then they were like, I think we're all best going our separate ways. And Jakara Jackson ended up getting fired. Oro Mensah ended up getting fired. Noam Dar got injured again. And Lash Legend went on to do her own thing. So I don't think that Metaphor had a good year at all, or had a year at all in general. So is that. And I've put down the Final Testament because talk about a flopped faction.
Oh yeah.
With Karrion Kross, AOP, and Paul Ellering, they did nothing of significance. They tried doing something with the Wyatts that completely flopped as well, and it seemed like they kind of just like forgot about it and didn't want to do anything because the Miz was added into that as well, and I think the Miz was really great in that segment in that feud when Karrion Kross was kind of just playing mind games with him a little bit and having fun with him. I think that had a lot of potential there, but they just didn't go through with it and then ended up firing AOP and Paul Ellering, and then later Cross and Scarlett. So definitely have them on there. In terms of the absolute worst, though, I have no clue. I don't think it's fair to give it to Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, even though they are there. So I'm gonna give it to A-Town Down Under.
There's some really cool shouts, ones that I completely forgot about and didn't even think of. I didn't even have like generally didn't have any of them now. That's such a like good shout for long because they were. I completely forgot Final Testament. Pure Fusion Collective is a hell of a shout. I had me try to think of who they even were, but you're correct. Um, but for me, I've looked at what has been probably one of the. It's been quite a weak year, I would say, for tag teams. SmackDown's definitely been the best, but it just because of the six tag teams in there. But even at that, they've not really been given much bother the TLC matches, and then the White Six took over, and they've basically been a nothing year. So I've gone for a division that is ironically starting to pick up a lot. And that's over on Raw in particular. The world titles of actually won the titles. I was actually very excited for them. Thinking, oh my god, okay, hopefully we actually get a good run with them now, and they did nothing with them. The next up, I've gone kind of in a similar fashion with this. Is what I was saying about, as you said about faction. Sorry, I put the Judgment Day, but specifically Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Absolutely amazing wrestlers, and whenever they got the chance to have a tag team match, put on probably one of the matches of the night every single time. But they just weren't allowed to do anything with the tag team titles. But more specifically, just what I've gone for here is the team because of how legendary they are. We know, and also the year they've kind of had. We've said it's been a bit of a downer year, and their tag team title run wasn't any better, and it was the New Day. Especially, I should adding in Big G, Grayson Waller, because I agree with you. I think someone's incredibly underrated and should go off and do his own thing. But the New Day said one of the best tag teams of all time, and had this heel turn, and it's just for me, it's just not landed. It's flopped, and when they were tag team champions, in fact, I think some of the best stuff they did was after they lost the goddamn belts and doing the morning stuff. But as actual tag team champions, they're out for me. I think they're probably the worst tag team of the year for me.
Yeah. That's a great shout. I think I didn't even put New Day on this list because I'm like, that's just obvious. They suck this year. I'm like, Rue will probably mention the New Day.
I like the out there ones for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what? The New Day, everybody knows they suck this year. So
Yeah.
it's interesting you brought up the Judgment Day as your worst because I actually have them on my best because
Oh,
the
okay.
Judgment Day still do run Monday Night Raw technically. And I had to put them as best and like Dom has been great this year. I honestly think that the Judgment Day backstage segments are just a lot of fun. Sometimes they're like pointless or whatnot, and like they don't really mean anything. But
Hmm.
like Dom is a lot of fun in those segments. Finn can be a lot of fun in those segments. So technically the Judgment Day d does still run Monday Night Raw. Like they have a full house now with Liv back, Roxanne there, Raquel. If you know the spoilers for Raw tonight, this might mean jack shit. But I think that Judgment Day they still run Monday Night Raw, and I gotta give them their credit. I also have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They've been really fun this year. This has been my favorite Charlotte Flair that I've ever seen. I think she's become, I don't want to say more tolerable, but in a way she has become more tolerable because, like the past few years, she just hasn't been. Like I mentioned earlier, how she just used to win everything, and this tag team really let fans see who Charlotte Flair is, and she's become more authentic. So I really like that. And even on the Alexa Bliss side of things, she's always great on the mic. She's always great in the ring. So they deserve a shout out. Vanity Project and Swipe Right I have on this list because I love them. I love these guys, man. I think they should be in NXT. They're too good for Evolve. I mentioned this before, but they should be in NXT, man. These guys are too good, and like they are perfect for heel heat because they're the exact like I guess stereotypes that people would hate and like that they hate in like movies or whatever. They fit that perfectly, and again, it's a shame that Zeta Steel isn't here because she would have fit this dynamic perfectly if they moved up to NXT, which they should. So I have Vanity Project on there. And I also have Fraxium on here because again they didn't have a single bad match this year. They always put on bangers, and even if the match didn't mean a whole lot, they still managed to put on a good match. Even individually, Frazier and Axiom are just really good. So definitely have Fraxium on this list. In terms of who I'll give it to, I'll give it to Fraxium. I'm torn between Fraxium and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, but I think I'll give it to Fraxium just off a pure wrestling standpoint.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair enough. And as you would just as you said about the judgment, as a faction judgment day, I totally agree with you. Been amazing. I love those segments. It was just the Finn Balor and JD
Yeah,
title.
I could see where you're coming from with that one.
For that. But in terms of the best, I've gone for the three, which I think have been the three best tag teams on SmackDown, especially and mixed in with all the TLC matches. So actually, when you went for Fraxium, I haven't had a bad match. They're just amazing, and even though at the early few months of the year when they were in NXT, still having incredible matches. The NXT tag team division has completely fallen on its arse since Fraxium left. There's pretty much no division. Like that's the
Yeah.
state of it. Which sucks because of how good it was. I've got DIY in here along with the Street Profits as well. Both had, I think, fantastic matches and some quite decent storytelling, mixed in especially with the TLC matches. But the one that I'm going for is one that you mentioned, and that's Charlotte and Alexa. I think they've been absolutely amazing this year. I totally agree. This is my favorite Charlotte Flair. I have never been a fan of Charlotte Flair. I respect the in-ring talent, but for me, the character was never something I enjoyed. This is the first year that I've got behind Charlotte, and see particularly getting to see the side of Charlotte outside the ring, where like it's kind of the whole thing with Austin Theory. He just seems like the nicest guy ever outside the ring, but inside the ring he plays a dick that
Yeah.
you want to hit. Charlotte kind of had that, but getting to see it outside the ring and this time getting to bring it into the ring and it working and fans actually just being like, oh, she's actually quite nice. Particularly after the Tiffy, up to the year because I didn't think Charlotte again. If we were talking about some of the completely safe in this, I think it was incredibly unprofessional. Some of the stuff Charlotte did, not in a good way. When it came to that feud, but afterwards, coming out of that with Alexa, as you did, Alexa Bliss is always amazing. Would I have preferred Alexa Bliss to be in a different position? Yes. However, if it meant Alexa Bliss had to hold off a little bit to bring Charlotte down to a level where she starts to get the love and praise, then we can both see them go off and do their thing. I'm cool with that. But I think they've brought so much prestige to that at the time a dead women's tag team division, pretty much not dead, but like kind of iffy women's tag team division. Um, they certainly brought a lot of eyes back into it. And at the minute, it's probably one of the best parts of Raw and SmackDown. It looks like we might be getting a women's TLC match or tag team TLC, which I'm all for at the minute. I think it'll be amazing. Some of the matches you mentioned one on one of our other awards about the ones like so with Bailey and Lyra, the matches with Kabuki Warriors. I think odds have just been absolutely fantastic. And completely changed my opinion on Charlotte Flair this year, which is something I thought would never happen. So that's part of the reason I'm like, you know what, fair play. I'll give it to the two of them.
Yeah, so DIY and the Street Profits are ones that I thought about putting on my list, but when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, the Street Profits were good for a couple months and then they kind of just
Yeah,
disappeared kind of thing, and I didn't really want to put them there. And then DIY started off good as well. Like we said, the tag team division on SmackDown in general started off really good, and then it kind of died down a little bit, and then we have this Tommaso Ciampa's a jackass thing, and it's like it's not the greatest what they're doing with DIY right now, and it's a shame because they're both really talented, whether they're as a tag team or singles competitors separately. So that's why I haven't put DIY and the Street Profits on here
yeah.
because I kind of just forgot about them, especially the Street Profits. That's part of the reason I didn't have them on this list.
Yeah, it's
Um,
totally understandable, I would say, for them.
yeah, for sure. Uh, So the next section we have is best and worst heel and baby faces of the year. So for worst heel, I have a couple written down here, or a few. Julia, I have written down for reasons we've stated before. Ivy Nile, as well. Unfortunately, Josh Briggs as well. I have written down here. Uh, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, Ryo and Bravo. Because what the hell, man? We've talked about that before. Um, Karrion Kross and Scarlett and the whole Final Testament. I have on this list because they, like I said, they completely flopped this year. They tried to do the things with the Wyatts and it didn't work out. Um, and the two that I'm bouncing between is John Cena and The Rock for worst heel of the year because John Cena's heel run just did not work out. Like we've said before many times, the moment itself was cool, but what came after that was not good. And obviously, The Rock just fucked off completely. So I am gonna go with John Cena here because that had a lot of potential that they kind of just ruined.
Yeah, I love The Rock when any chance to shit on Dwayne. For me,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've said it. I know it's they're both not everyone's favorites, but I've said it in one of my videos. I'm more frustrated and pissed off at The Rock than I am with Triple H more than anything. I don't know that he really is pissed me off. You know, a lot of people as well. So any chance for that. But yeah, I got same with you. John Cena down and Julia down as well. Karrion Kross is a good shout as well. He was someone who like I wanted to try and get behind, but I just was never on the complete hype train that some people had.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the guy smashes it. But for me, someone whose heel turn has been so tragic because of just how bad it's been to the point. I mean, it's like as I said, it's fully go away heat for me. And slash just stop talking heat, and it's Kalani Jordan. I cannot stand the heel character of Kalani Jordan. It's been. I don't think the babyface exactly was amazing, but it was better. It's just some people I think you said is more naturally suited to being babyface or heel, and for Kalani is more suited to being a babyface. I would say. I've said I mean, on Mike Work said still not amazing. I think it's better than that, but it's just that one promo she cut. Well, actually, the two promos on NXT. The one where she rambled for about 15 minutes is just herself, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then the next one where before the Women's Iron Survivor match, where the crowd were just booing her out of the building, and not in a good way, like Gunfor.
Yeah.
It's horrendous to me. I hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. For best heel, I have quite a few people written down. Asuka, she's a great heel. I love her work. Becky Lynch has been absolutely fantastic. Braun Breaker, especially recently with the promo work he's been doing. Chelsea Green is just fantastic. I think Chelsea Green deserves all the flowers in the world. Dominic Mysterio as well has been great. Drew McIntyre, even though sometimes when he does the complaining thing, it can kind of get a little bit stale, and it's a kind of the same thing. But overall, he's a pretty good heel. Ethan Page for sure is on here. The It's Gull thing from Evolve is hilarious, so I put that on here. Uh, JC Jane as well has been fantastic. Naomi I have on here as well. She had a complete glow up year this year. Paul Heyman I mentioned earlier is fantastic. Seth Rollins was good as a heel before like the vision separated and all that stuff. So Seth is definitely on here. Trick Williams was great this year as the TNA World Champion and calling it like Trick-a-nay and all that good stuff. Trick Williams definitely on here. And another shout out for them, Vanity Project has been really good as heels this year. So uh, I don't know who I'd go with in terms of this entire list. I'd probably bounce between Naomi and Ethan Page potentially. I'm not gonna go with Dom because Dom is loved and it's not like actual heel heat. It's just you love to hate him, kind of thing. So I'm gonna go with either Naomi or Ethan Page, and a very loud honorable mention for JC Jane.
Love the Jesse Jane shout. Someone I completely forgot about, but I totally agree. It's funny actually you say that about Dom because that's the exact same. I had Dom as the one, but then I thought about it and was like, if I'm going to go because of spoilers, Dom definitely comes up later on for me as well. So I was like, you know what, just to try to spread it out a bit more. I was like, who have I loved most from an actual heel point of view? I mean, obviously, I said go back to Dom. I am so captivated by everything he does in that ring, on the mic, in backstage segments when he's being a dick. But as you said, he's so beloved. But shout out again, you. I pretty much everyone I've got on here you mentioned. Chelsea Green, Ethan Page, amazing. Gunther, I got particularly in the latter half of this year, just been on fire for me. Braun Breaker, as well as you've mentioned, absolutely amazing. And it really came down after Dom. It came down between two, and I said the first one being Naomi. As you said, complete career revitalization. So I cannot wait for Naomi to come back when she's ready to. I'm going to go to Becky Lynch. I've said it before in these other ones. She has just wowed me so much. And I genuinely, I'll say it. I wasn't that excited when we all knew it was Becky coming back in Mania. I mean, it was, I was like, I didn't hate it. I was just like, oh, it's Becky Lynch. That's cool. Um, her character development, everything with Lyra, the storyline she's been a part of, and then moving on to her stuff with Punk and AJ, and even the stuff with Maxine, I think has been fantastic. With Becky, her backstage stuff with Pierce, actually, shout out, we mentioned him earlier, has been amazing. Her Twitter beef with Pierce has been amazing as well. Everything she's done has been great. This is the best version of Becky Lynch we've gotten, better than the man in 2018. Certainly the best heel Becky Lynch. I was never a big fan of her other heel personas personally. Um, this completely changed it around. This is now my favorite Becky Lynch, and it's I don't know what you want to call her now. The greatest of all time, Becky Lynch.
Yeah. And it's not just her saying it, Sports Illustrated says it as well. So,
Exactly.
it's confirmed. So let's talk about best baby faces first, and then we'll get into worst. So for best baby faces, I have quite a few people written down. I have Adam Pearce, because I think he's a great babyface general manager, as well as Nick Aldis. I have written down. I think they're great as general managers and being baby faces. CM Punk is a great one. Cody Rhodes has always been great as a babyface. Io Sky, Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Penta, Rhea Ripley, Tatum Paxley, especially recently with all the stuff that she's been doing, and Javon Evans. So those are all people that I have listed down. I am going to bounce between either uh, CM Punk or Javon Evans, to be honest, to be a little bit different. And I think because the guy just deserves all the flowers in the world, I'm gonna go with Javon Evans on this one, because he's been so damn good this year.
Yeah, I have so many great names there. You said love, and I totally agree with them all. But the ironic thing to be a bit different because as you said, he's been absolutely fantastic. I've seen a list as well. Not there's not maybe not so much for the character stuff, but this week alone, he's been on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, AAA, and then obviously last Saturday as well at Saturday's main event and the SmackDown before that. The guy, the guy's insane. But yeah, as you said, like he's probably one of the most sympathetic and loved baby faces out there, and I've gone down. But yeah, as a shout out to all the ones you said. I think everyone I've got down here you had as well. So Penta, AJ Styles, Cody. I don't know if you said, I've got Carmelo Hayes recently, particularly
All right,
getting these
yeah,
flowers. Yeah, I've got Carmelo Hayes on here as well. It definitely is an honorable mention, and hopefully has a great 2026. So kind of looks like he's been set up to. So hopefully, but yeah, Javon Evans for me for this year has been insane.
absolutely. For worst baby faces, I have quite a bit of people written down as well. Andrade is the first one on this list because man, that just didn't work out. Again, as much as I hate to bag on the guy, Jordan Oasis didn't have a great babyface run in Evolve. He's I know him personally, he's my guy and all, but I am going to be brutally honest. I didn't enjoy the babyface work that he did on Evolve. I wrote down word for word argument for Jay Uso, but he was really loved by the fans and stuff. I think that's just more of a personal thing that I just didn't enjoy. BFAB and Meechin as well were just terrible this year. They weren't used in any positive manner at all. Uh, Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors from NXT and Chase U have just not been good either. Dante Chen as well. from he's had a couple of stints in NXT and he just never got out of the gates. Once again, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Natty as well hasn't been a great babyface this year. That'll probably change if she brings the Natty Neidhart gimmick, to the WWE potentially. Nikki Bella, of course, just was a terrible babyface. So I have her on this list. Hank and Tank as well. I don't think we're that great this year. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I have Hank and Tank as worst baby faces. Kinda Jordan Grace as well. She didn't really get out the gates either this year with her booking, and again, no fault of her own. But yeah, I got Jordan Grace on this list, and Tiffany Stratton as well. Did not have a good babyface run, especially as champion. She works much better as a heel, so I have her on this list. In terms of the worst, I don't honestly know who I'd go with on this list. I haven't even decided. Um, Maybe Nikki Bella. I don't think it's fair to give it to BFAB or Meechin because they weren't featured a whole lot and they're just used to like put other people over. So maybe Nikki Bella on this one that I'll go with. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards Nikki.
Nikki Bella's a really, really good shout. Actually, someone I didn't even think about, but yes, I would happen to agree. I would say, much better as a heel. I would say she's better, but she's better than Babyface, which I would say that much. When it comes, which is a similar to what I'll go into with the person I would for, but yeah, I don't hate Ricky. I just think he would be better, just like the way his character was. We've seen it in AEW was better suited to heel, and I think NXT crowd were like that as well. They just weren't getting behind him like I think they hoped they would. Obviously, we've now seen the heel turn of Ricky Saint, so I'm excited to see what they do with that going forward. Two in here that I didn't think you were going to put down, but you did, which I found really funny, was B-Fab and Meechin. I've got chucked in here. Because they are literally the only two baby faces currently on SmackDown that can feud with anyone that isn't in the tag team division, and they aren't great at all. It's not a very strong division over there, so I've got the two of them in there. But the one that I've gone for in the end is Jade Cargill as a babyface, and this is why I was comparing the Nikki
Right.
Bella
Yeah.
one because Jade, I think, is a lot a lot better as a heel. She's better as a heel than a babyface. I don't know if maybe a lot's the correct answer, but she's certainly better as a heel.
Yeah.
But I think overall Jade's had a very. It's quite ironic, but I guess it's just the testament. She's actually had one of her better years, I guess, professionally, but being one of her worst years as a viewer, I would say. To actually watch. So for me, for everything that she's done, I portray. And it's funny, like looking back at like her feud with Naomi and all that at WrestleMania. How much I didn't like Jay's character but love Naomi. I'm still so mad that Naomi didn't pick up the win there. Not that I thought she was gonna, which sucks. But yeah, so Jade Carter, she's just the mic work, in ring work, character. She's all so bland to me as a babyface.
Yeah, the Jade Cargill's a really good shout. And someone I forgot to completely put on my list because for some reason I forgot that she was even a babyface this year. But yeah, she absolutely was, and it wasn't good. So that's a very good shout. And you know what? I think I'll agree with you on that one. I'll give it to Jade Cargill as well, because that just was not good. Uh, so the final section of the WWE End of the Year awards that we have is the best and worst male, female, and overall superstar of the year. Quite a few things are written down here. We'll start off with the best female wrestler of the year. Uh, for best, I have a couple names written down. I have Stephanie Vaquer as best written down as well because we've talked about it before. She has been fantastic and she can always deliver in the ring. So Vaquer is definitely on this list. Io Sky as well. We've given her praise before. She's so good, and like she came. I'll give a spoiler. She came very close to being my overall superstar of the year because she is just so damn good. She's better than a lot of the men's talent and a lot of the women's talent.
Yep.
She's really good. Chelsea Green has been fantastic this year. She's a great wrestler and a great character, great personality and everything. And behind the scenes, she just seems like the nicest human being ever. Uh, so Yeah, Chelsea Green on here and JC Jane as well. I have here as well because JC Jane just again deserves all the flowers in the world because she's just had a complete breakout year. Went from being, third wheel in a faction, least important in Fatal Influence at one point, and went from being the most beatable champion to being a two-time NXT Women's Champion. So JC Jane definitely deserves the flowers. I am going to give this to Stephanie Vaquer though. I think that's the most obvious answer, at least for me, because she's just been great this year, and she's the women's world champion right now.
Yeah, would not argue with literally any of them, and I think pretty much I've got all of them as well. I said JC Jane been incredible. It really blew me away because I was very much in the camp of didn't really care when she won and that she was just going to be a transitional champion, which she wasn't. She's been fantastic. Chelsea Green, as you said, is fantastic. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, I think is if we had an award for my favorite in-ring technical wrestler of the year in WWE, I would give it to Io Sky 100%. She's had my most favorite matches this year. I would say. I completely lost my list here. Where am I? Here we go. Stephanie Vaquer, as you said, absolutely had an incredible performance. And as I said, if we were doing like by the time we got around to WrestleMania with the Slammies, she was absolutely my female superstar of the year, 100%. She's still up there. But after the year we've had, it came down to two. You could probably guess it by the two that has been getting neck and neck for me throughout this entire thing. It's between Naomi and Becky Lynch for me. I've loved them both. And just out of sheer, I guess we've had her for a bit longer. I've gone with Becky Lynch here over Naomi. Again, absolutely adore Naomi and everything she's done this year and more than deserves her flowers, and I cannot wait for her to return. But I think Becky Lynch has just been on another level. Even when Raw was in some of its kind of slump points, particularly towards the end of the summer, Becky Lynch was still one of the most entertaining parts of me. Her feud with Lyra was so good, and I said how much that has done for Lyra now as well. Lyra's been one of my favorites. You probably shout out to her as well. Um, for this, but just the complete switch. Everything I said previously about Becky Lynch being my favorite heel stuff of the year as well. It's you can sing it here. She's been amazing. My favorite version of Becky Lynch I've ever had. Completely changed it around, and I think she's just been on fire.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Becky Lynch is a great shout, and I wouldn't argue with her being the best female wrestler of the year because she has been great. Um, for worst female of the year, I have a couple written down as well. Blair Davenport, who just,
Let's
man,
go.
flopped this year completely, and then ended up getting released really early into the year. Electra Lopez, uh, Jordan Grace again, unfortunately, because the booking, the writing, has not been good. And the person that I'm going to give this award to is Julia. I since she got up to the main roster, it's just been like any momentum she had from NXT just completely died immediately, and it's almost like you forget about what she did in NXT because of her main roster run currently. And so I bounce between Julia and Jordan Grace, but I think in the end, I still like Jordan Grace. I don't want to shit on her too much, so I'm going to give this to Julia.
Yeah, yeah. As a Julia was a very close to be top. She's just not quite made it on another one. But Julia was very close. Like you said, it's such a shame what's happened, and I totally agree with you the way you've described it spot on. The fact that you forget, like, see, with like it's I don't know. I can't even try to get my anger out towards WWE and what they've done because actually you're totally right. You forget that what she came in with such heat and such flair, won the NXT Women's Championship off of Roxanne Perez, I believe, and would just look like a beast, and it's just flopped so hard on the main roster. Other shout outs in here, to from previous, I said Michin and B-Fab, chucked in there. Nia Jax, though, I said I've not gone for because as you pointed out, I do think she's actually started to. She's had a she's had a better year. I'm still not a fan of her, but I like the stuff she's starting to do with Lash Legend. So that's maybe a bit of a harsh one. Chucked in there. Kalani Jordan again. I've mentioned multiple times. The one for me is the same as the one I've done previously, uh, and it's just Jade Cargill for me. I've tried and tried and tried to get on the Jade hype train, and it's just not worked. Even like I thought she was a bit of a beast when she was in AEW, but even at that, I was still like, the amount of hype that she was getting about when she came over to WWE, I was still like, I'm not too sure about this. I think WWE kind of quickly realized that as well, and why she wasn't pushed to the moon as soon as she came in.
Yeah.
but there's not been much. There's been a bit of improvement, but it's not a lot, and not to the point where I think you can have her strongly as your women's champion, particularly on a division that's so lacking in depth. Like it's so noticeably bad when she's on screen and who she's feuding with beat Vav and Meechin currently. It's like these are people who are like the lower card to Chelsea Green. Like you've got no one, and it's not great. It's not been great. I've not. She's delivered some of the worst promos of the year for me. That Queen of the Ring speech might be one of the worst things I've ever heard. It was awful. Matches wise, haven't been great. When she gets a good match, it tends to be because of the competitor. I would probably say in there that's helping her. Like when she like for instance, her is it Storm Zero? Is that her finishing move? I can't remember what it's called anyway.
Um, no, that's I believe that's what Tony Storm calls her finisher.
Oh yeah,
Um, oh, I completely forget what her finisher name
yeah.
is.
Oh, Jaded. That's
Jaded,
it.
yeah, Jaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What like see for instance, like the one that one I remember she hit. I think it was on Kairi Sane in Clash, either Backlash in France or Clash in Glasgow. I can't remember which one it was. One she like when she's got the right competitor in the ring to make her look amazing, she does. She looks like an absolute beast.
Yeah.
But that's I would say at the hands of the opponent, not in Jade, to be truly honest. So it's just not worked for me for Jade. I think she's incredibly overbooked for the ability that's there. I'm not going to say it to her face because she looks like a monster and it's terrifying. But for me, she takes up this award.
Yeah, I was never a fan of her in AEW either. I never thought she was a good wrestler in AEW as well. And like even when she first got to the company, she was stuck still training for a good number of weeks and a couple of months actually. Still at the Performance Center, they were still trying to get her under like accustomed to the WWE style, and it seemed like she just wasn't getting it because of how long it took. And it seems like she still doesn't get it because she just hasn't been good at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm completely with you on Jade Cargill. For worst male wrestler of the year, I have a few. Lance Anoa'i, who did nothing when he got signed to the company and then got fired. So he's on here. Draco Knox as well. Chris Island from LFG because similar to Tatiana Dumas, he had this thing where it's he'd put on a bad performance and the coaches would consistently tell him that he sucks, and that was him on LFG. So obviously, either it was a gimmick or he genuinely does suck. And from what I saw, it just seemed like he actually did suck. He just wasn't good. BJ Ray as well. Again, I don't think was any good. Um, Shiloh Hill, I don't think has been good at all. I don't think he has a lot of difference in his moveset either. So I'm gonna go, and obviously the gimmick is just terrible and god awful. So Shiloh Hill on here. And The Rock, because another chance to shit on Dwayne. So I have The Rock on this list, and he's probably who I'm gonna go with for worst overall.
I am not going to complain with that. I said any chance of shutting the rock because I didn't have him anywhere on my list. I completely forgot about his existence. But the rock. Yeah, some of the ones to me, I think some great ones there. Particularly, you said shout out some of the LFG guys I'm not too familiar with. So if I guess for like worst male, I guess especially maybe on technical ability, not so much on what they've achieved. I've put Mr. Yeetman himself just for that. Another one that's popped up a few times for me, JC Mateo. Just it's not been great from
Yeah.
then this year. One that I had forgotten about, and I think you mentioned them in the awards yesterday when we did them, about Shinsuke Nakamura coming in and still be actually starting the year as the US champion, which I completely forgot even happened. And once again, it's been, I would say, probably a dull year for Shinsuke. So I've chucked him in there. Shiloh Hill was someone on here. I've only I've seen the man have one match and a handful of awful promos, and I already dislike him. But for me, I'm trying to think of who's the man that when I see him makes me physically annoyed and angry. and everything about him when he's on screen comes as no surprise.
Oh no.
Cutler James.
Yeah.
The poor man. But it really, if I take the joking part out of it, it comes down to the complete lack of all credibility he gives to Dark State for me. As in, Dark State could be actually decent. But as you said, the weird ass lines he comes out with, I swear you can see the likes of Saquon just pushing him to the back, being like, "Shut up, like
Yeah.
stop talking," because they'll come in, they'll actually cut a half decent promo. Is it about cringy and typical what you see in WWE of the big evil heel stable? Yes, but it works. But then he'll open his mouth and speak, and I'm like, all credibility is gone. I don't care because this is just a joke of a faction now, and it really irritates me. It's all these other ones of people I can try and find some good in and can get on board with and enjoy. I every single time I see him on my screen, I just get an audible groan. It's really bad go away from me towards Joe Cutler James. I'm sorry, Cutler James, but it is.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. And I won't disagree with that at all because Cutler James has not been good. I agree with you. For male best wrestler of the year, I've got a few written down. I've got Obafemi, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk because he's been involved in a lot of major storylines this year and has always performed well. Dominic Mysterio, of course, we've given him his flowers throughout these awards. Braun Breaker has been fantastic, especially in ring. Bronson Reed has had a big year this year, joining the Vision and, all the major things he's been involved in, like beating Roman Reigns. Ethan Page, of course, has been great this year, and Javon Evans, once again, has been absolutely fantastic. So those are who I have on male best. I'll get into who my overall is on the male side because my overall best is from the male list.
Okay, well I'll do the same then. For that, that's actually a very good shout. Yeah, some of the ones for me that I've got here, then I'll just mention them all off. Kevin Owens again had such a good start. That is how good Kevin Owens' start of the year was. The fact that he's still on this list at the end of the year for me, and he's been injured for 9 months of it. He was that goddamn good. It's such a shame what happened. As you said, CM Punk, I think, yeah, has had an incredible year. Um, Gunfor, but the reason I'll say he's not winning is just because it's more towards the latter part of the year for me. Ilya Dragunov coming back has had a fantastic run. Obafemi, as you mentioned, Ethan Page, Javon Evans, absolutely, and Dominic Mysterio as well, chucked in there. Actually, I'll do what you're doing. I hold Aussie as my overall superstar. It comes from this list.
Yeah. So my best overall, so worst overall, I went with The Rock, because for obvious reasons, like we've mentioned before, he just, fucked everything up this year. So The Rock is my worst overall. Best overall, I'm gonna go with the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. He's just been involved in so many major things this year and has always performed very, very well. He's great on the microphone, especially when fired up. He's always good on the mic, and he's had some really good matches. Obviously, he was involved in the Netflix premiere this year against Seth Rollins. Had a major spot with Rollins in the Elimination Chamber. Had a good sequence with Cena in that match as well, and so many other things he was involved in. So CM Punk gets my best overall.
And I think it'll be hard pressed to find anyone that will argue with that. So yeah, my worst overall is similar to what you went with before. I've gone just for Cutler James for all the reasons I gave. But for my best, I'll go for the opposite reasons that I gave for Cutler James, who's someone that I'm so enamored by it every single time they're on screen. Doesn't matter which company they're a part of. They're always one of my favorite segments of the night. Even when they don't have much going on in terms of booking, they still find a way to make me just entertained by what they're doing on screen or hiding in the background. It's someone that I haven't actually given a lot, if any, awards to, given nominations and honorable mentions for, but not all because I was holding out because I knew that he was going to be put in here for me. Someone who's improved so much this year, and it is Dominic Mysterio. For me, I every single time he's on screen, I just in love with what he's doing. I have fallen in love with Triple A this year, and obviously it's not just Dom, but Dom being the champion of that massively helps that.
Yeah.
and seeing what he gets to do on screen. Obviously, something I guess you'll talk about later on. There is also reports of him being injured, so hopefully it's not too bad. That I've seen. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think he's had an absolutely fantastic year. So starting off the year in the run up to Mania, being put at that position where everyone kind of went, "Wait, is Dom going to win this IC Championship?" And we all kind of went, "I think he will." Went on when one of the, I don't know, it wasn't match of Mania, but one of the best matches. Very, very long feud with AJ, but even all the stuff of him trying to avoid AJ, I thought was really fun. His stuff with Penta was really fun. As did everything he's done in AAA against the likes of Octagon and then going up against Vikingo, winning the AAA Mega Campeonato has been incredible. And continued on with just even the stuff I was talking about. He can elevate guys who haven't had a great year. I think the most entertaining Rusev's been this year is in his feud with Dom. And Dom, it was always such a fun finding new ways to win his feud, also with Rusev and Penta, and then finally sort of accumulating in this feud with John Cena, where I was so happy and proud of Dom. For you, we said it before, we've seen new up and coming wrestlers who look like they want to be pushed to the top completely disintegrate in front of John Cena. We've seen it with Austin Theory. We even seen it for an extent with Roman Reigns in like 2018 or whenever it was.
Yeah.
And Dom didn't do that. Dom completely held his own in there, looked fantastic, went out there, had a pretty solid match with Cena as well. Out there was certainly not on the list of Cena's worst matches of the year. So had a solid match on there. Everything that man does, the stuff now him being back with Liv as well. I'm so excited to see what goes. I will say they need to hurry up and pull this trigger on the Finn Balor thing though, because Jesus Christ. But apart from that, everything that man does, I'm in love with, and it's one of the few. I'm very much of the. I always say that wrestling subjective. We can all agree, we can disagree. No one's right or wrong. The only time I say that your opinion is wrong is when you cannot understand why Dominic Mysterio is a fantastic wrestler and is a future world champion. Because if you cannot see that, then I don't know how what your understanding of wrestling is.
Yeah, absolutely. Dominic Mysterio is a fantastic shout and a fantastic one to bring up. And I did consider him for best overall. I just don't think like he outshined CM Punk in a lot of ways. And like again, that could just be the writing. Like CM Punk's always going to be at the top of the card and top of the division, because that's just who he is. But Dominic Mysterio is a fantastic shout and. Again, like I wouldn't argue with anybody bringing up Dominic Mysterio as their best of the entire year this year because, like you mentioned, he did a lot of great stuff. I completely forgot about the thing with AJ where he was trying to avoid AJ. That was absolutely hilarious. Where AJ was a janitor at one point. He was a like he was a valet or whatever. So yeah, I completely I love that storyline and Dominic is great. I love Dom anytime he's on my screen. It's fantastic and it's entertaining. So yeah, definitely big shout out to Dominic Mysterio. But that is going to wrap up the end of the year awards for the WWE section. Obviously, we have the AEW ones coming up as well. We will start recording those tomorrow. So it's going to be the same deal, three different parts for AEW, the technical skills, the writing awards, and the performance awards. So make sure you guys keep your notifications on so you're notified when those drop as well. Because like I mentioned in the previous videos, we got a lot of content coming to you guys to wrap up the year. So there's a lot of stuff coming. Obviously, we still have the Kayfabe Central Awards as well coming up. So I'm going to be posting a reminder about that later today or maybe tomorrow for the Kayfabe Central brand itself. So you guys can vote, for a variety of different things like your favorite co-host, all that good stuff is on there as well. So, today and tomorrow is probably going to be your final chances to vote. So make sure you guys get those votes in. I'll leave the link down in the description as well. So, for anyone that wants to get their votes in, can vote. So yeah, absolutely. Go vote for that. Rudy, you want to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, you're on wrestling YouTube. I'm actually going to be live with Raw, so you can come on and find me on the TikTok there.
Are you going live for Raw tonight?
Yeah, feeling not too bad. I've actually slept. I feel not too bad. I'll sit and do that whilst writing up my AEW awards at the same time.
Fair enough. Um, So yeah, I know. And like speaking of live, by the way, I've gotten a couple people, well, one person in particular. Shout out to Phoebe because she's been on my ass to go live consistently. And anytime I do go live, she reminds me that it's been like a whole 2 months since I've gone live on TikTok. So a big shout out to Phoebe who always is on my ass about going live. But everybody joined Ruse live because I will not be live for Monday Night Raw tonight. I'm just going to be chilling and watching it on my own. And I'll be in Ruse Live. So if you want to say hi to me, you can say hi to me in Ruse Live. I'll be there because I've already typed up the spoilers, all that stuff from Monday Night Raw tonight. So I don't have any coverage to do for it or anything like that. So yeah, go check out Ruse Live on TikTok. His stuff is always in the description below. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here, and we will be back with the AEW End of Year Awards tomorrow. Same deal, like I said. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. All that good stuff to come to the channel. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.